Welcome to the Marble Sports Worldwide Podcast, where we discuss and analyze your favorite marble sports. From JMR Marble League to I'll Go Do tournaments, we'll make sure you never miss the action. All marble sports, all the time, right here on the MSW Podcast.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Marble Sports Worldwide Podcast. My name is still Brendan in episode 94. We've been doing this for about 2 years, and it's still Brendan, okay?
And my name is still Commander Wolf.
As you can tell, I do not tell Woff how I'm going to start the intro every time.
Yeah, no, he doesn't.
He's just confused every time. Like, what am I going to say? Anyways, if you had asked me 2 months ago to name, just sit for an hour, right? Sit for a full hour and name all the possible things that could happen in JMR in 2021. All the things. I have a full hour and just name things. They don't have to be likely. They just have to be possible. The disbanding of the JMRC would not have come up in that first hour. I can tell you that for sure. And the reason it would not have come up is because the JMRC is so important and seem to be so strong a structure in the JMRC organization that you almost could not imagine JMR existing without a committee to connect the community with Gel Baker and the JMR staff and the actual production team, and to bring bridge that gap and make decisions on marbles that should be retired or little decisions on the red flags. You couldn't imagine them not being there. So this happening in the past week is a real shock, and I'm glad. Mm-hmm. I'm glad it didn't happen like yesterday, because that would not have been enough time for me to really just think about it, because there was many days this week where I was just like, wow, that is so big that even though it doesn't really directly affect my life, it still is affecting me. I feel different because this is huge. This is a huge thing to happen in the world of marble sports. So
agreed. Yeah.
Woff has go ahead, Woff. Sorry.
I was going to say, this is probably going to be one of our most important episodes, if not the most important episode in the show's history, just because of how big this is going to be. And my kind of goal here is I want this to kind of be a hub location for people to come to get information, because I've seen so much speculation on the Reddit about like who's in the right, who's in the wrong, and it's just so annoying to see, because there's definitely information out there, but it's just all scattered around. And then I imagine the JMRC members, they've all tired of having to answer the same questions over and over again. So what I really want to hope is once this episode's recorded, people can just whenever they ask, hey, what happened, what's going on, people can just give them this link just so they can send people away, and the JMRC can just kind of relax for once.
So in that note, over the next hour and a half of the show, of course, we're going to have Johnny Marble bring us the news this week. That excitement will not be without this week. We can't have an episode without Johnny Marble, no matter how down in spirits it is. But for the bulk of the episode, Woff has done a lot of research. I've talked to a few people in the community, but Woff has done more extensive research to really get at a lot of the different facts and fictions of the situation. And of course, as you guys know, I'm bringing the Marble Guy-ness, where I take all the information and react to it and try to tell you what I think the future most realistically looks like with the information, the facts that we have, because that's the biggest problem sometimes. Something happens that's crazy, like the JMRC disbanding. That's crazy. In the world of marble sports, that's like World War VII. All right, in marble sports, it really is. That's a big deal. So because the deal is so big, people take that information, they don't have all the facts, and then they hyperbole. I don't even know if that's a verb. I don't think you can hyperbole, but that's what they do. They imagine a future where it's so crazy and impossible, and then that gets around the community, and then everybody panics. And while I think it's a very bad thing the JMRC is disbanded, there's not many worse things that could have happened. there's still the future is not as bad as people are guessing that it will be, in their panic state. So we want to bring that realism. We want to bring realistic outlooks, and we want to bring facts.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we're going to do today. This is going to be as informative and, actually, not panicky as possible. So
yeah, I guess we'll it kind of just like the other changes. Like people have probably noticed, but my mic quality is a lot better. Basically, the day that the JMRC resigned, like all of my new equipment came in. Like I got an XLR mic, I got an audio interface, and then once the discussion section starts, you'll notice like I was at Walmart one day. That day, I decided to finally buy a ring light just so I can see my face for the face cam. So like I got a whole bunch of stuff. But then like my old computer, it died on me yesterday of the day of recording this, and so I had to go out that same day and get a brand new computer, reinstall everything. So, if you're wondering why episode 93 is not on YouTube yet, that's the reason why.
We're going to get that up as soon as possible.
Definitely. But yeah, I guess with that being said, I think it's time to go to Johnny Marble so we can get right into this.
I think it is. So, Johnny Marble, take us away. Give us the little bit of positivity we get to experience in episode 94.
Hello, Marble Sports fans! I am Johnny Marble, and as always, I am coming to you for MSW, sponsored by Marble Hotel. Whatever you roll, will be there. Race 9 of Season 5 of Marble Rally was quite an exciting and challenging race, with several do-not finishes throughout right out of the gate. El Capitan got stuck on the first obstacle, and not too long after, Quicksilver got stuck at one of the mediums dividing two paths. As the race was winding down, Super Ball ended up flying to the stands, but fortunately, no one was injured. Marbly McMarbleface then goes up a little too high on a turn and is out of the running. And as if the race wasn't already exciting enough, the ending was one of the closest we have ever seen, with Dragon's Egg taking first by only 0.02 seconds, with red number 3 being the one to take the silver, and Polo Loco coming in third. Only 3 races remain, and it is still anyone's game, so there sure are races to be remembered. I'm Johnny Marble, you are the best fans in the world. Let's kick it on back and continue now with the podcast.
The news is over, but the drama has just begun. Thank you, Johnny Marble, for bringing us episode 94's news. Man, this number. We will always remember this number, Waff. We will always remember this episode. Probably even more than episode 100. But
it's possible.
This is quite a day. There's a lot to discuss. And actually, because, like I said before, Waff has done a little bit more research on this matter than me, I'm going to start with Waff. And I'm gonna let him tell you what happened, give as much facts as possible, and then we're gonna unpack what happened. So, Waff, take it away. What even happened? Who's Dion't? Who's JMR? Who's the JMRC? Actually, do define those things, because there's probably some people who may not know what those things are.
All right. Well, so during this whole episode, like, for our non-YouTube listeners, I would highly recommend actually watching YouTube for this one, because I'm going to be posting a lot of photos and Brendan will be putting them up, so for physical evidence. So definitely do that. So I'm going to go ahead and start. I'm going to post the JMRC's official statement right there. So go ahead and check that out, Brendan. Put it up for everybody to see.
And where are you posting that for me?
The links for episodes.
Links from Wow, we haven't used that channel in the Discord in a while, and it's going to be blowing up today. So.
Oh, it's going to be blowing up.
Oh man.
Okay. All right. So to give it some context for people who still chose to not come and watch it. Oh, it's gonna be only on my. Oh no, there we go. So yeah, basically JMRC unanimously decided to disband, and apparently I've seen a lot of people actually not understand what that means. Basically, it means that every member decided as a group to disband the JMRC. Like, they were not fired. They were like forced to quit. Like, they made this decision on their own. They actually sent a list of concerns regarding their issues with Dion't to Yella, and like it's basically like saying like these are problems with with Dion't and like kind of the channel, and like if these aren't addressed, and they even said like if Dion't does not leave JMR, then we will resign, and ultimately we can tell that's what happened.
Evidently, Dion't did not leave JMR, and we're gonna get to what Dion's role is. But I do want to cut in for a second, and just so it's on the record, I'm just gonna read out vocally what this post by JMR says, so you hear their words verbatim here. So they say, for the past 2 years, the JMR committee had provided a link between the channel and its fans. But just want to stop there. That's super important. That's like the main point of the JMRC. They may not be the one deciding if who or Rapidly or Speedy is going to compete in Marbula 1, and Rapidly better not be there next year, by the way. But that link between the channel and fans is so important. So back to their words. The committee had not only relayed their own advice and the wishes of the fan base to the channel staff, but they had also played an increasingly important role in assisting the production of the videos on the channel. We all love being able to help Yella, to create the best I should say it right for this episode, to create the best possible content for all of the JMR community. Unfortunately, we regret to inform you all of the JMRC's unanimous decision to dissolve and cease all future activities due to continued unresolved concerns. JMR will now be responsible for the committee's duties and fan engagement, event accuracy, and more. We wish the channel good luck in all its future endeavors. And that is 12 people. 12 or 16, and at least 12 people that unanimously 16. Okay, well that's a lot more. Decided to just be done. So that means something major happened. So why don't you talk more about what's going on?
Lifetime's actually asking me to keep my face cam up as much as possible. I imagine it's gonna be difficult with you grabbing links, but you know.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So the reasons for disbanding were like the members felt that their input was being ignored, and that also like Yella's authority was being undermined by Dion't, and some of the most recent examples would be Dion't like leaking info on social media, making announcements such as the retirement of the Hornets and Jawbreakers without telling anyone, vetoing the decision to add the Yarborough Yellers as a team despite Yella approving it himself, and like changing the lore of the CCE by saying that they're from Egypt despite Yella not wanting teams associated with real-world countries. So he's ignoring lore, he's ignoring he's not like telling anyone else on the team what he's doing, and he's also like taking basically control away from the person who owns the channel.
Yeah, and I mean you spit those examples out really quickly, like they're all really small parts of a bigger thing, and they are small parts of a bigger problem, which is Dion's mindset when facing the channel. But each of those different little decisions have their own kind of character on something bad that's going on. Like, for example, CCE. If he's saying, okay, I want them to be associated with Egypt, okay, that's cool, I guess, because the logo looks cool, but what he's doing there is he's taking the point of JMR, and I've talked about this before. We've talked about the relating marble sports to real life a lot before, and how JMR's kind of refusal or just decision not to usually do that has been why JMR has been able to be so successful, because it creates a whole new world. So what he's doing by making a decision like that, yeah, he's being selfish in his mindset, but he's really taking the whole direction of the channel and just completely changing it for one team. And it's like, and then that's a lot of confusion, because then all teams are like, okay, yeah, all teams are not from Earth, but CCE, we want this good logo, so we're gonna make them from Egypt. And so that's just completely like it is. Like, what is the word? Dichotomy, because it's like the two shit that's opposite. I don't know what the words are, but you know what I'm saying. It's like this is the direction of the channel. We're trying to go in a way where we're creating a whole new world, but the CCE get to be from Egypt. So that decision right there, it just shows that Dion't is not aware, or at least not caring about the mission and direction of the channel. On the other side of the coin, in a different way, if you take the situation with the Yarborough Yellers, by the way, one of my least favorite team names. I just want to put it out there. It doesn't mean I agree with the way Dion't handled it. I personally don't like the name either. I think it's crappy. But here's the problem with that. That's a completely different problem with Dion't than Crazy Cat's Eyes. Because what he does there is he's like, okay, you know what? Yarble Yellers. That I forget who came up with that, but someone came up with it, and the community wanted it. The community or the JMRC or just a bunch of people in general were like, we would like to see that. And then Dion't, instead of being like, okay, the community wants it, so I want to listen to them and make them happy. He's like, okay, I don't like the name, so I'm gonna make the decision for myself not to allow that team in to the world of JMR because I don't like the name. And that's a different problem, because that's a selfish outlook saying to the community that it's not about, first of all, that you guys don't know what's good, and that's what it. Number two, you're saying, okay, I know what's better, and if I don't like something, then it's just not going to be a part of the channel, and that's a bad way. That builds walls between the community and the channel, and that reduces engagement. Also, the mission of the channel is compromised there. So, because the mission of the channel is that community engagement, so those two different things, small things, are two completely different problems that are two different very big character flaws with Dion's focus on running the channel. So I mean, just want to cover that, because you should be aware, because the mission of the channel is so different from the way Dion't is thinking and the decisions that he's forcing upon the community. That I mean, to call those small things, they're definitely not small things, is what I'm saying.
Right. I think since we're on the subject of the team retirements, it is important to point out that the JMRC were in talks about whether or not to retiring either the Hornets or the Turtle Sliders instead of doing both. I think they were leaning more towards the Hornets at the time, but the decision to remove the Jawbreakers for I think it was the Yarble Yellers was a guarantee. And also Dion't the same day did mention a crowdsourced team where basically the people could come up with names and the Patreon would choose them. That was something that they were going to do. So the announcement that Dion't made wasn't necessarily something that they hadn't planned on doing at some point, but he did it without telling anyone, and he did it on the same day that they announced their resignation, and they were, and so this caught them off guard.
Yeah,
that just made everything worse.
It's just you just lose your whole committee, and then that's the day you post about that. Damn, yeah, that's and just to get it clear, so you're saying that the Hornet, okay, so before Dion't said anything, the previous plan was to retire either the Hornets and the Turtle Sliders and replace them with the Yarble Yellers. Was that the previous?
It was either that or the crowdsourced team, and because I didn't want to do both of them, and it also it's important to mention that the word retired wouldn't have been used because Yella does not like using that word, because teams can come back. He doesn't like doing something that could completely eliminate someone's chance. Make someone think that their team has no chance of returning. So that's yet another thing where Dion't is ignoring what Yella prefers to do with how he runs the channel.
Because he's not aware, or at least focused on the little things, the little choices of words, and the little different methods that are used to engage with the community. He's not focused on that stuff and how that changes it. Literally saying retired versus taking a break are two completely different things in the minds of a Jawbreakers fan. Because to say taking a break, even if Yella was like, okay, I just don't like the Jawbreakers, they're gonna get it 10 years off. If he says taking a break, at least the Jawbreakers fans feel like they have a say. They can be because they can feel like, okay, if we really plead here, we might get the Jawbreakers back in there. And honestly, the way Yella is, if there was enough community interest to put the Jawbreakers back in, then they would be in. The problem with Dion't is that you, as a community member, as a fan of a team that could be retired at any point, do not feel like you have that say. Because he's saying, okay, that's your say, but I don't care. So that's what he's saying. So I mean, so you don't feel as engaged because you're like, okay, well, my team could be retired at any point, and there's no way I can get it back. There's no way my fan base group for the Turtle Sliders, which is probably small for that particular team, but besides the point, we're never going to get them back. And with that feeling like you have no voice in something that, not just something that is really good if you have a voice in, since Marble Sports is still at its beginning, but also something that you are used to having a voice in since the last 5 years of JMR have been very community driven, it's really a huge change in the direction of the community, and not a good one. To me, in a business sense, this blows my mind. And me and Waf, we reacted to this on the day it came out. I was driving home in the car from something, and I was just saying, I was like, dude, it doesn't make any sense. All right, you're the biggest Marble Sports channel. You have all the direction. You have all the success right laid out in front of you. And you should know. I mean, Dion't is not a stupid person. I don't think he's done some terrible things, but he's not a stupid person, because JMR has gotten to where it is partly because of his work. So for him to not realize how important JMR's growth, how important the community is to JMR's growth, it's just ridiculous to me. Because the reason JMR continues to be way, way more popular and way, way more consistently viewed than Fubica, than M&H Racing. I mean, we've talked about a million times on the podcast. Do I even have to say why at this point? I've literally talked about this just for years on the show, like every other episode, is because, JMR brings an extra added value with the community voice, with the community, the different character it has on each team, building the fan base, the art, the fan team competitions, and all of that extra stuff is what makes JMR stand apart. So this Dion's cutting their most unique characteristic off, and they're becoming Fubica. Which Fubica is not terrible. He still gets 50K views or whatever, but he doesn't have the engagement or the future potential that JMR, I guess, did have. So it just blows my mind why he's doing this, because he's not stupid, and there's so much more success. I mean, really, is he really willing to sacrifice all that success because he doesn't like the name Yarble Yellers? That's stupid. That's ridiculous.
Whoops. Drop my phone. Very professional on this episode of the podcast, everybody.
Yeah, you're just so shocked at the decisions. You just had to.
Oh yeah.
You let the phone drop.
Since we're talking about how important the JMRC is, they actually posted a list of things that they did just for Marbula 1. I'm going to post that now. You can go and show that. It is insane how big this list is, and there's a second post that they made about it. Where they talk about how there are other things about it, and Marble League is even more time consuming than what this list shows. So just to give everybody an idea of how important the JMRC is, they do so much, or I guess did in this instance.
This is really good stuff. This is really good stuff right here. Wait, I'm just copying these links, getting them up. Please watch the YouTube for this episode. Come on. Just watch the YouTube so you can see. I'm gonna read everything out verbatim, because I feel that it's extra important that when we get words from the JMRC that they are read out verbatim, so you know exactly what they're saying before we then say it in our own way or react to it. But it helps to see the visual too. So can I read these out, Waff, or did you want to say more about them?
Basically, this is pretty long, so if you want to talk about some of the stuff, feel free. But it is, I don't want to linger too long because we do have a lot to discuss. But I want definitely for our viewers, definitely take the time to pause and read that, just to get a good sense of just how much that JMRC does.
I'm gonna be nice to our viewers, because I'm gonna call a speed read. I'm gonna read extra fast through this so you can hear it all said out loud if you don't feel like pausing the video. So here we go. This is all starting, I guess, now. This is the list of all the things the JMRC has done for
Marbula 1.
This is just for Marbula 1?
Yeah. The next one mentions how Marbula League is even bigger.
Okay, this is just Marbula 1. So just read, and even if you don't hear everything I say, because I'm going to try to read it fast, I mean, just the volume of things is ridiculous. So here we go. Video review, meaning considerations for fan engagement, recording errors, responses to issues, recommendations for narrative, recommendations for reshoots. Timing and scoring, manual frame-by-frame tracking of marble start and finish times, spreadsheet calculations for statistics and supplemental data, months of development, and in that section is sector time breakdowns, average lap times, fastest lap tracking, overtake tracking. New section, leaderboard generation, custom Python scripts for data-driven video graphics, month of development, marble position tracking. New section, track title logo, custom for each track, inclusive of host team visual standards. New section, track map for video, precise to real-world track parts, position of bumpers, curbs, and attenuators, positions of special features like ramp, speed boost, etc., positions of sectors, lap count, turn count, average lap time, lap length, and meters. New section trap map for social media. Nothing about that. New section marble lineup graphics for video, individual marble art specific to each track. New section marble lineup graphics for social media. New section marble performance graphics for fan engagement, position charge, lap analysis. New section marble one posters for each team. New section trailer and intro videos. New section custom sound design, unique music, team cheers. New section lore development, including continuing narratives for fan engagement. And then the second thing I have to say, some of these bullet points seem small in a list, but a single bullet point could be months of work to get up and running. And I'm, I guess, meaning the JMRC, probably leaving out many other smaller tasks that are just all as vital. All tasks that Yella can lean on to support JMR with the highest production value in addition to all the work the rest of the JMR team performs. And this is not the only series. Marble League 2021 is coming soon, and the list gets even longer for that, our flagship series. Wow. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's a lot of shit. I mean, that's the only way to really react to that. That is a lot of things to do. If I had this checklist in front of me, I'd be like, that's a month of work right there. That's not something. That is a lot. I'm not doing that in a day. That is a hell of a lot of work. So, and that even adds to like how baffled I am at Dion's actions, because Dion't being so involved in JMR's production, he's got to know this. He's got to know that they're doing this. He's got to know they're at least doing some of this. And so for him to be like, well, whatever, I don't care, or he just to kind of put JMRC on the wayside, like he just doesn't care that they're doing all that work. I don't understand it. I understand it. Live chat. The 93 video is coming out in a couple of days. While I've had a computer difficulty, you can find it on SoundCloud or on Spotify or something like that if you want to. Though, continue off.
I was gonna say that like not we're gonna talk about now, but in a few points you're gonna realize that Dion't actually doesn't do a whole lot as much as he says he does. But let's stick with doing one thing at a time. So we'll get back to that eventually. Oh, we're gonna get to it, but for like some people might be wondering, what about Melicus? Because like his was a paid position, and the next day Melicus did do a separate resignation. I will send that through actually right now. And like there was a very big reason for like doing it separately. It's because Mel's reasons are not the same. Well, I can only imagine like if I was in his position and I heard about this stuff, like that would probably influence my decision to leave too. But Melicus at least says that like he wants to focus on his engineering degree, flight lessons, and other projects in his life, and like Yale's marble runs just takes up too much time, and so it seems like that for Melicus at the very least, his main reason for like he was actually probably going to leave even if things weren't maybe it's so tenuous with Dion't, and so like they now kind of like, and Melicus actually is the one who created the JMRC originally, like that was his creation, and like he's done so much for the community and for JMR, and so like it is quite sad to see him go, but like it is important to note that like this was a separate resignation and that it was not done for the same reasons.
Yeah, and I'll read out his resignation. Again, guys, usually I don't do these verbatim reads of everything we talk about, but this is one of those episodes where, part of the content of the episode is knowing factually verbatim what's being said by the people involved. So here we go. This is what Mel says. He says, "Hey guys, I'm resigning from my duties at JMR. I've been in contact with the team for the whole afternoon, talking about the events of the last few days and hearing each other out. I would like to point out that I have been given a generous offer to continue my position and that we remain in good contact. After giving it some thought and consideration, I decided that stepping down would be best for everyone involved at this moment. Working for JMR has always been a passion for me, but as life went on, so did other things that I need that need my time and energy, my engineering degree, flight lessons, and other projects I'm working on. I genuinely believe that stepping down is of mutual benefit and will help both JMR and me to develop further. Thank you also much for being part of this wonderful journey and for making the last 3 years of my life incredible. This is really one of the most incredible communities that I've ever encountered. I will see you around as a fellow fan." Mm-hmm. So there you go. And I actually talked to Mel. Because me and Mel we've had some sort of relationship. It's been up and down. It's more up than down right now. It was down for go to episode 56. I think that's the one with the Fubica stuff, or because I think that's the one where I give the whole rundown of that. Or was it 56 is when I talked about resigning? I forget when I that might have been the whole rundown, though there might have been an earlier episode. 56 or like 30 something, but no matter.
It was 56, pretty sure.
I was talking, and actually Mel kind of went into more detail, and I don't know how much he wants me to say. He has actually. I'll say this. I will not say what it is, just in case he doesn't want it out there. But he does. He actually has a position at another channel, and is working for them. And I mean, he told me what it was. It really, really, really exciting, to be honest. And he's his skills as a community manager are really worth it. He's got 3 years of experience. He's done a lot, and he deserved that spot. And I mean, his skills should not be wasted in a community where the head of the community, or part of it being Dion't, is not going to listen or care about his actions. So I'm not like upset that of course the JMRC disbanded and he resigned, but with this situation at hand, Mel's resignation makes sense, is what I'm saying, because he does so much and he's so good at what he's doing. For that to just be ignored, he's wasting his time. So the JMRC and Mel's resignation is not, at the very least, is not insensible because of the position they found themselves in. But unfortunately, it's not good for the future of the JMR world. But that is. I talked from Mel for a little bit. His outlook on the channel it's hard to really get a picture. He's kind of like he's so on what he thinks. That he has some optimism for the future JMR, like the content's good and stuff. But with this problem, he's not. It's not looking great, right? He doesn't think it's looking great. So
yeah, I can't believe it took this long to say it, but thank you to every member of the JMRC. Like, you guys did so much, and like you are like played a very big part in these shows and series that we enjoy so much, and it just won't be the same without you. And like, just good luck. It's gonna be weird without not having you guys here.
No, yeah, that I could not echo that thank you any better. Like, I feel the same way, man. And especially after seeing that list, that's a lot more things than I thought they did. I did not know they did all that. That is actually considerable work. Actually, they should have been paid for some of that, to be honest. But that is a substantial. I mean, look at this: video review, timing, scoring. All the logo stuff, trap macking, pretty much coming up with all the base ideas here, or at least a lot of them, and kind of like pitch. It's almost like a JMR Shark Tank. They're pitching all the stuff to Yella, and then Yella kind of takes it all and decides. Except for in Yella's case, Yella actually listens to what they say and uses at least part of their idea, as opposed to Dion't and as opposed to Fubica. And this is sometimes I'll just segue right into this. One of the things that bothers me about the whole Dion't situation the most is how much Dion's actions reflect Fubica's. Because you guys remember, I did work on the committee for Fubica and did commentary for him for a little while, which is kind of my first way to get experience in commentary, in broadcasting at all. Like, that was my first kind of broadcasting job, which I'm grateful for that chance. But yeah, like Fubica was the same way. Me, and it started as pretty much just me for a while, but then it became a full committee when like I gave him the ideas to make a Discord and stuff. Like, I had all those ideas to bring. I was trying to turn Fubica into a more into a channel that had a better mission, more like JMR's, and try to give that community engagement, build that Discord, and really try to. When we came up with ideas, like when I came up with ideas for like Marble Champions, which had specific team names and logos, because I was trying to build a world from Fubica's channel as opposed to just have these one-off country ball things. He was not super receptive. Like, he would take ideas that like he liked, but like it wasn't like he would just take base ideas. So like, like maybe I'll make team names, right, for like Marble Champions. He would, if he didn't like the team names, he wouldn't even use them, even though I would be like, okay, can you include some of them, because I spent time, or me and the committee spent time making them. He would just be like, oh, I'm just gonna make my own now. And so like he would kind of just, it was the same thing. He wouldn't really be listening. We'd come up with event ideas and stuff, and he'd be like, okay. And then if he uses your idea, lucky you. But there's no like communication between us where it was like where he was saying, okay, I saw your event ideas, but this one I don't like for this reason, or this one I like for this reason, or let's try to figure it out together. No, it was kind of like we're just doing this stuff, shoving that information at him, and then he deals with it in his own. There was no back and forth, and that's the difference. That's the problem with working with Fubica that I kind of see with Dion't. It's kind of like now the JMRC, or at this point the JMRC was just doing things, sending them over to Dion't, and then Dion't was like, okay, I'll handle it now. I'll do what I want with that right now. So it's kind of like, it's just not the same connection or at all a good connection for what a committee should be doing for a company, because it is like a company. So that's what, like, I mean, I guess I was saying is I can relate kind of because I was in this situation. Now Fubica was not as, I kind of knew that what was going to happen. Like, Fubica speaks a different language and stuff too, so that made it even harder. But I mean, it's just, I kind of get it. I get what they're upset about, and it really, really makes bad for a company who can't listen to their community. It blows my mind. Blows my mind that he makes this decision.
Yeah, something I guess is important to mention, like, 'cause I think some people have actually been confused with this. Like, all the members are still in good terms with Yella, and they love the channel, and they will continue to support like JMR, but like, they just don't like, they're not okay with Dion't or the direction he's taking the channel. And I do think we should actually kind of discuss a few more of the issues, because I did mention briefly like some of the more recent issues, but like there are issues, and I'll be posting some more screenshots. Like, for instance, like he was making posts about marijuana on the JMR Twitter, and you can see it and he later he would like say like, oh no, that's not what I was talking about, but like in one of these Twitter posts, he just directly straight up says that, yeah, purple haze, that's marijuana. It's like, and he's not even talking about it negatively either, so it's kind of like almost like he's encouraging like the use of drugs, which is just not okay, like especially not for a family-based Twitter. Like, because this is content for everyone to enjoy, so people of all ages are coming here.
Do you have a link to that?
Yeah, I sent them in. Like it's, I haven't thought about this recently. It's crazy how immaturely Dion't would handle the channel, or other aspects too sometimes. Let me see here. Menti sent me some of the things to mention. Like for instance, yeah, definitely give the viewers some time to look at those Twitter posts. But
purple haze is weird. I mean, weed. Yeah. Sorry. So oops.
Yeah, Menti also sent some stuff in like a.
Wow.
Like for more like a Dion't like trying to take control. Like, I didn't notice this, but in like the behind the scenes of the Winter Marble Race, dude, he went from being the creative director to the CEO of JMR, like just suddenly out of nowhere.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Oh my god, did you notice in the behind the scenes video that like I think he was the only one who had a little nameplate show up when he showed up on the screen? I saw that bullshit. That was so, oh my god. I can't believe that. Zhao showed up on the screen about 10 times and he never got a nameplate.
Did he not? I could have sworn he did.
Yeah, or maybe it was like at the beginning and I just didn't remember it, but I remember seeing the CEO, Dion't CEO at JMR. And I was okay.
And he also mentions how like he keeps claiming that he's like he owns the company 50-50, but like when Yella started the channel, he wasn't even doing ML, and like it was just marble runs and machines in the house. And, like Dion't has even said in old interviews, and someone actually mentioned one of them in the Marble Base, like he's like saying that things like Yella, like when he started the channel, he didn't think anyone would actually watch it. So it's like, like he's got, it's like this thing that you apparently put a lot of work into, according to you, is something that you had no faith in. Like what?
Yeah, he's kind of like, and that's why Dion's bad for I guess the organization. I don't want to say company because they don't really sell anything. They're an organization, because. That right there, knowing that right there, what does that tell you? Well, that tells you that Dion't, okay, it started, and Dion's like, nah, this is not gonna work. No one gives a shit about marbles, which is not true. I do a podcast, Dion't, so you're wrong. But that's what he thought, and then it grew, and then Dion's mind was like, oh wait, this is actually working out. I better get my hand. I better stick my hand in this pot, and now he's taking it over, but the problem is because he doesn't have the same vision and thought, or at least some sort of semblance of selflessness, where he can be like, okay, I'm going to stick my hand in this pot, but I'm going to try to just be a help to Yella, who actually has a good vision here. He wants to just take it. And when he takes it, and because he didn't think it was going to work in the first place, his direction is just going to be different than Yella's. And so like his decisions make sense to him, but to the community in Yella, who have a completely different idea about where the channel should be, and they obviously have a lot more inherent passion for what it is, it's just going to be this complete opposite, and so it just doesn't work, and it's like somebody Dion's doing it for money, Yella's doing it for passion. And if someone does something for money and someone does something for passion, they're both going to do it completely differently. And honestly, usually the person who does it for passion ends up doing that shit better. So that really right there explains that. Like, I mean, I guess when I say here, how could Dion't be so stupid as to do that? Because Dion't doesn't understand marble sports. Actually, I'd be surprised if he even watched the videos, in truth. I mean, so he doesn't involve himself in the community enough to understand how important the JMRC is. So when I sit here baffled, how could he not get it? How could he not be like, oh, the JMRC is what makes JMR stand out from all the other marble sports channels? Well, he didn't even spend time figuring that out, because he's only in it because it's making money. He's only in it because it has big numbers on YouTube. And so he's not informed. He's not informed, and that ignorance is causing all these problems because he's making decisions, and it's not necessarily that he just hates the JMRC. He just doesn't understand how important they are, and that's why, and that's making the channel suffer because of his ignorance. And I'm not saying that makes it better. Ignorance is probably worse than hating right now. I mean, honestly, not understanding why your 1.5 million sub organization is so successful is worse than being like, oh, I don't like the members of the JMRC, which I don't even know if that was true. That's just probably not true either. I'm just saying, like that ignorance is really a big problem, and I mean, even if you are just trying to do something more for money than for passion, if you were smart, you would at least take the time to be like, okay, let me at least figure out what the people who are more passionate about this have to say about it, what, why it's succeeding in regards to that, and then be like, okay, well, it seems like this JMRC is a big thing. Seems like this community engagement is a big thing. I'm gonna let the Yarble Yellers roll right in here, because that's gonna make the channel better in the end. So that. It was ignorant. It's ignorance. It really is. It really is mostly Dion's fault why, these mistakes.
Mm-hmm. And he also mentions how he basically would block anybody who disagreed with him, and would accuse people that who disagree with him as being alts of the JMRC.
I hate people like that. I hate people who if you say something that they don't. Hate is a strong word, though I also did say fuck off. But I don't like people who, if you say one thing that they don't like, and they just block you. That's my least favorite thing in life. That's my least favorite thing in interacting with people online. Is that you cannot ever have a differing opinion, or your time talking with that person is over. Where I've said something I was like, hey, I don't actually think that's a good idea, or I don't think that's a good thing, and then that's it. You don't get to talk to them anymore, and that's that to me is the I've made a ton of mistakes, but the biggest sign of immaturity is when you just you ignore people who have a differing opinion. So that really gets to me, because I do a lot of stupid shit, but one thing I won't do is just block someone for saying something different. I usually am way more okay, let's talk it out, and that's how you should be. Even if it ends up not being talked out very well, it's better than just you cutting off communication because you're like, well, I don't like that you're not saying all the exact things I'm saying. I mean, because it's just not. How is he the CEO? I don't even know, man. I don't really know.
Yeah, we're gonna keep getting into it, but I'm pretty sure it's just a title. But again, we're gonna try doing this one step at a time. There's a lot to talk about. So I guess let's see, what's the next? What's to be the next thing I should mention? how about like how long this has been going on? Because a lot of people think like I remember people claiming like, oh, like this is just like a recent issue, and then the JMRC didn't even try to resolve it. Like no, these have been issues, and there have been several over a long period of time. MESP actually said like some would argue that it's been going on since the Hershy JMR split, which was early spring of 2019. And I guess like, to give context for what that was, basically Hershy was like the logo designer for ML at the time, and like basically he was designing logos for 2019, and then like Dion't just like hired someone else to do it without actually telling him, basically scrapping all of his hours of work, and also like would also constantly saying things like that he's basically just piggybacking off of JMR for views and subscribers on MSPN, which is like very uncool of him. But so here we go. Here's the first big one. So Brendan, if you remember, there was something that Hershy and we and Hershy talked about after the show in episode 10, but we weren't sure if but Hershy kind of like, maybe we should talk about this now, but I got permission from Hershy to finally bring this up.
Go ahead.
Get ready for a lot of screenshots. So basically, this shows that issues have been going on not just in 2019, but even back in 2018.
Oh wow.
So I guess first of all, I'll post so he also was the head of the Hershy was the head of the merch store. Like basically, he did a lot of the work. I can send what he told me, right here. So Hershy was the sorry, Hershy was the he was sorry, dang, I'm sorry, there's so much to do. Basically he was in charge of like the merch and controlled the store. The only thing he didn't handle was financials. He mostly just made the logos, but he handled all the listings and stuff. So like that's how important he was to running all that stuff. And so there was an issue early on. Like this is a multi-part story, so like I'm gonna be seeing a lot of stuff in. So like this might take a while. So here we go.
A lot of links coming, you're saying?
Yep, so get ready to put these up on the YouTube.
All right. We're going to get these links going, guys. Now is a great time to remind you while Woff gets these links up. Oh, this is such a smooth transition that I have to be happy about it before I even say it. Now is a great time to remind you to email into the show, mswpodcast@gmail.com. You can email in, and when you email in, we read your emails, we react to your opinion, and we listen to it. And our opinions and our thoughts and our direction forward in the next rest of the podcast is altered by your thoughts, because we in the podcast Marble Sports Worldwide World, we like your opinions, and we listen to them, and we take them into account when we try to wade through all the information of the world of marble sports. So definitely email in mswpodcast@gmail.com. We like I said, we listen and we react. So anyway, we got some links up here. Do you want to explain these? So I see. Yeah. So Hershy said that it did give me permission to post all this. By the way, I have full permission to do this. So basically, these are conversations with Hershy and Dion't. Like basically, he gave me images, and then he gave me a text explaining what's going on. So basically, I'll basically put up the screenshots first, and then I'll send you the images of like what he said they are about. So here. Yeah. So, like that's a message with him and Dion't. Like Dion's basically telling them like, "Hey, I can't pay you because finances are bad." Did I say? And then who's Rob?
Rob was see, Rob is also someone who helped with the merch stuff. Basically, the way the payment was structured was Rob would actually pay them from that money from like the merch sales. Like there's the sales, then like there's like you split the cost to get like for like manufacturing and whatnot, and like so and then that money, and then the people. So like I think Rob was the manufacturer, if I'm not mistaken. He would get the cut, then he would send their cut to JMR, and then JMR would give his money their money like cut for Hershy for running the store.
So Dion's saying what's going on here? So Dion't is saying that he can't pay Hershy that month for the logos because taxes?
Yeah, that's what he's saying. And like here's image 2, basically where his follow-up message to him.
Well, did he ever get the money for that, or?
Oh, we're gonna get through this. We're doing this step by step. We're doing it step by step.
That's the coming attraction. All right.
Yes. So there's image 2 of the next message he sent to him, and then I'll send the explanation for what he said about it.
Here we go. Yeah, there's a lot of interesting images coming. This is a great time to remind you to email the show, MSW Podcast at gmail.com. This is also a good time to remind you that we, all the platforms that we do podcast. I'm just doing this because WAF's getting links, and I don't want to.
No, Brandon, take the time. I'm waiting for you to read them. Like that's why. Like,
oh, you want me to read them out loud? Oh, I thought you were just still preparing.
I figured you would. Because, you have to read them all out loud.
Now that I went into it, I might as well mention we're on SoundCloud. We're on Spotify. We're on Anchor Podcast. We're on Apple Podcast. We're on podcast.podcast. I don't know. Anchor posts to way too many places. I don't remember. We're on YouTube. All right.
I mean, if you want to, I can summarize them for you and send you just keep the images up. So
I'll read them. I'll read through all of them. Okay. So WAF. Okay. In the first picture, WAF says, "Were you the head of the merch team or just a part of it?" Hershy says, "I made all the merch and controlled the store. The only thing I didn't do was handle the financials." This is back when we had Hershy made the logos and he helped run the store for JMR, the merch store. Okay. Mm-hmm. WAF says, "Dang, I didn't know you made the merch too." And then Hershy says, it was mostly just the logos on merch, but regardless, I made all the listings and stuff. So he really did some work. Putting together their website and everything is tough, or at least preparing the merch takes at least some time. Okay. Then Dion't says, this is Dion't in April of 2018, responding about the money he was supposed to give Hershy. So he says, "I'm so sorry, Orion." That's Hershy's name, by the way, exposed. Mm-hmm. "I had some difficulties with tax payments. It won't be a problem at next payments from Rob or YouTube. Please understand we have a very bad month and had not enough time, I guess, to arrange everything. April is tax month in Holland." April is tax month in, like, all places. And then he gives a little sad face, or, like, not sad face, just, like, the sweating and upset face. And then he says, the emoji. "I hope you understand normal months. It won't be a problem, but I need another payment for now because tax is paid now. If Rob pays, I will send you first." And then Hershy says, "Okay." And then he says, "Thank you and sorry, really." Then Hershy, I guess, is this in the same thread?
Yeah, this is his same messages to him. Like these, and like this is like, I think the next, it was a few days later.
Okay, so Dion't, Hershy says,
sorry, or it might have been, it's at least a few days or like even possibly weeks later.
All right, so so Hershy says, "I have waited for a long time and you still receive nothing from you," meaning no money. And then Dion't says, "Rob hasn't paid me yet." So just passing the buck to somebody else there. And then Hershy says, "Rob already paid you for the 116 items. He told me when the payment was sent, which is when I messaged you. That was April 8th. And then Dion't says, "Yes, but the next, or the payment of my MCN. I don't know what that is. All right, we'll just move on from that. Then Hershy says, "That should have been coming out of the previous payment, not the next one. We have not sold anything in a long time because of the lack of videos." And Dion't says, "Same situation so far." And Hershy says, "What do you mean? You said that you were waiting on YouTube money, not more merch sales." And then Dion't says, "YouTube is 1st of May."
Yeah. And then
I inferred that one there, even though I couldn't see it.
Yeah, I couldn't even read that one.
I figured they were in April. And then I guess this is Hershy's words. "This is Dion't saying they had money issues and they can't pay me on time. This happened almost every month." Oh, this same conversation was not just an April situation. And then he says the way the payment was structured, Rob would pay them, and from that money, so Rob would pay them. Then from that money, they were supposed to pay Hershy. There was really no excuse for not having the funds. So then I ask you, Waf, was there any payment ever exchanged? I mean,
again, we're going to get to that. This is a multi-part story.
So this is happening in 2018 when everything supposedly is going real. This is when the talk of the community was a lot of my stupidity. I caused a lot of I was a mediary drama in between the real stuff going on behind the curtain.
So next up is Yella messaging Hershy, actually, about some concerns he's had.
Okay. So Yella messages Hershy. Here we go. So yes. Yella says, "Hi, what's my current total revenue for the merch shop? My brother Dion't says that is only a small amount of money, some hundreds of dollars. by the way, this is a crazy number, but Hershy says total sales are over $11,000. Shit! That's a semester of college. Actually, that's not even close to semester of college, but come on. All right. Rob can give you your profit number, and then Yella's like, okay, thanks. Your profit should be at least a couple thousand, but you guys do need to advertise more, including posting the picture I sent you. That's smart. Yella says, I know that, but I won't annoy my fans with too many advertisements. Good for you, Yella. Good for you.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Good for you, not pandering to your audience. Okay, so I'm careful with this. How can I contact Rob? I lost his contact details. Hershey said he should be on Facebook. And then Yella says,
the next message,
again, what is his username? Do I get to finish reading it? Again, what is his username? I can't find him back. I guess that comment wasn't really important, but I read it anyway.
Yeah.
And then we got more. We got another link, guys. This is some not Mythbusters. No, I thought Mythbusters. What is this? Like we're really digging into.
I don't know, but like
I can't think of a good analogy. We're digging into some information. Yella says, thanks. I sent him a mail because I guess the information we blacked that out. And then Hershey says he's paid you over $6,000. And then Yella says, okay, Dion't should have received it. I will try to contact him about it. And then Hershey says, yes, Dion't should have received over $6,000 since the store opened in February.
Mm-hmm.
And does it go on?
There's the next message where he explains like this is kind of getting a summary. This is Yella asking what profits there are, thinking it was only a couple hundred. Then he reposts the second message where he started like, I've waited a long time, and then he mentions like this screenshot is from the day. Excuse me. Yeah,
this is May 8th. The screenshot with the 6,000. It's May 8th.
Yeah. This screenshot is from the day before Yella asked me that. So after I told Yella that Dion't had been paid over $6,000, I double checked with Rob. So then, did I send the other one in? Yeah, I think I did. Okay.
Yeah, we already saw these. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, and then he then sends the next message in where he's asking Rob, "Hey, what were the profits?" Right here.
All right, we're getting it all. Okay, here we go. Go. Here we go on an adventure. Remember that show? Cat in the Hat knows a lot about that. With the thingamajigger up and away. That wasn't a bad show. I actually used to watch that. Well, here's how it went. We're just tangenting. We're tangenting here. We need something a little bit lighthearted for a second. So I used to watch. I love Curious George. This is the best show when you were a kid. I mean, there's nothing better than Curious George. It's just true. So I used to watch that, and then for I guess the way the TV programs were scheduled, every time after Curious George, there was this show called The Cat in the Hat. There was a lot about that. And I liked it. It wasn't Curious George, right? Nothing was Curious George, but I liked it enough that I got into that. So then I was excited every morning to wake up and watch Curious George and follow it with some Cat in the Hat. Knows a lot about that. And then it would go off the rails at that point. It would go to Dinosaur Train. See what it did there? Off the rails train? Shit. All right, but yeah, we go to Dinosaur Train or something like that. And that was an okay show, but then it started like going downhill. And then it went to like, I don't know, like Caillou. Oh, no, not Caillou. That's like 2 years before that. I went to like I don't know, like Octonauts or something, and that's where I tapped out. What was the show with the Octobots? Who I don't care. I tapped out after Dinosaur Train is what I'm saying. But besides the point here, let me read more stuff. Okay, so this is Rob and Hershey.
Long, so
Rob says $5,943.12. That's what my PayPal records of money sent, and another 602 is a. Did he just? Oh, he fucked up the dollar sign. Okay, I see. $602 is about to be sent. So $6,545.92 is the official number sent to them. So no, not just a couple hundred. Then Hershey said, "That's what I thought," and Hershey said, "They just paid."
And there's the receipt to show that he did in fact get paid. And then
wait, so Hershey did get paid?
Yes, and the story here like.
Okay, you got paid $95. Okay, all right, I see.
So basically, like the message, like the order of the events. If you didn't get it, it's basically that. So the day before, where he was like, like Dion't, I waited for a long time. Dion't saying like, I don't have the money to pay you. We're in too much of a financial issue. The next day, Yella's then asking him about like oh, we've only made $100, but like Hershey's like, no, you guys have made over 6,000. And so and then only after finally confronting that and providing evidence that they did get 6,000, then he finally got paid.
Yeah. So pretty much the basis here is that Dion't was not being honest and was waiting for himself to be in a situation where he's really trapped. There's no way to get out of the fact that he's made a lot of money and has to pay before he'd actually be willing to send a small fraction of that money over to Hershy for all the work that Hershy was actually doing, which was quite a bit. So that's an example of dishonesty, where that's kind of it's in the most basic form. You receive money, someone's helping you earn that money. You are supposed to pay them because they're helping you, but you act like you're not, either haven't received the money or it's not that much. So as to not have to give some of that money away to the people helping you, and that's just greedy. That is what it is. That is the definition of greedy. By definition, what that word means. So there you go.
And the other thing was, like, remember, like, Dion't told Yella that they only made like a couple hundred. Dion't knew how much money they made, and he lied to his brother about how much money they made.
Yeah, and that kind of Octonauts is Nick Jr. Sorry, I looked at the chat. Listen, I don't know. There was something after Dinosaur Train that I was like, nah, I don't do that. I'm not, whatever that is, I don't like it. Curious George and Cat in the Hat knows a lot about that. Those are the two shows. I'd watch an episode of that today. Just to be nostalgic in it. Those were some well created shows. But moving on.
Yeah. So like, basically, problems have been going on with Dion't for a long time. He's been doing a lot of shady stuff, and oh shit! I close it. Yeah, okay,
well, while you're doing that, another life. Yes, nothing does beat Blue's Clues, but that was like 3 years before the Curious George. So that was back when it was Blue's Clues and Maisie Mouse and Max and Ruby. Damn, that was a good one. Those were the couple of years before shows. So Blue's Clues, Curious George. Though, if I had to watch two kids shows for the rest of my life, Blue's Clues, Curious George, that's where I would stay. And if I could add a couple, I'd probably add Max and Ruby, Cat in the Hat, and there's a lot about that because he does.
Anyways, but I didn't want to keep on talking because this episode's already gone pretty long, so I don't think anyone was against him helping out or getting reasonable pay for his work. It was two things. One, Yella should have the final say on any decision, and two, Dion't should not have access to the social media accounts or financial accounts. That last bit, we now know why he would say something like that, because there's already evidence of him not being very trustworthy with the finances.
Yeah, and that to me, that's a big thing for me. It's a big thing for me because when you talk about mistakes, like, okay, because maybe Dion't can't live with the Yarble Yellers being in JMR. Maybe if the Yarble Yellers, just play devil's advocate for a second. Maybe the Yarble Yellers being a part of the JMR world would be such an awful thing for Dion't that it would just every day not be able to sleep. He'd have nightmares about it. He would be in the corner shaking because that would just ruin his life. So let's play devil's advocate that that's the case. Now that is ridiculous, but let's just pretend. Even if that's the case, even if those community interaction things are tough for him, it is just blatant and very obvious and very quantifiable and recognizable, wrong. When you are receiving money and you are supposed to pay somebody who is helping you, who is what the things that they are doing, the actions that person is doing is making you the money that you're making, and you're just not giving it to him. That is so much more clearly a bad thing as opposed to, just not listening to community or whatever. I mean, that's a problem too, but if you really want to play devil's advocate and really try to stay on Dion's side, well, it's very hard to stay on his side when that is like corruption. That's having money. You're supposed to give money. You keep it for yourself. That's just clear greed. So I mean that those kinds of stories when they come out, you're like, that is really building a good case against his character. And in my opinion, he's not the person I would want to see running JMR.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's just like, it's fine for him to do any other work to get paid like anyone else should. It's crossing the lines that were the problem. One, because, well, it's Yella's marble runs and overriding Yella was becoming really problematic. Two, because he would leak stuff without any discussion, would promote content at the wrong times, would say problematic things, etc., and couldn't be trusted with the money. Obviously. That's really what it boils down to. No insults required. We all just wanted a responsible structure that everyone could trust. And Dion't just couldn't provide that kind of structure. I guess, like, something to mention, like I think there's that aspect, like it's not Dion't like just being like purely evil, like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna screw him over. I think he genuinely believes like he is as important as, like, he's like super important, and like, even folks said as much like the way he could see that that Dion't would actually do some things like was that if he truly believes that he is integral to how things have that JMR has rolled out. And he did folk did give me some points. He does want to clarify that the first 2 points are his own personal what's the word? I've been thinking about this for so long, so I'm just kind of his personal judgments. The third point is more factual, so I'll go ahead and give that to you there. Again, thank you to the JMRC for helping me with this. Like,
oh yeah, absolutely, and this just kind of speaks to their character, that they're willing to really speak about this and be as factual based as possible and be as open as possible. It just kind of shows that they really do care about the direction of the channel, even after they make decisions like this. And then that says something. That does say something. That does, right? That does speak to the character of the committee, which is in contrast to the character of Dion't. Because there's some things he's done that just can't do those things, man. Do you want to say something before I read this?
Well, I just read the statement. So.
Okay. Okay. Yeah,
So
okay. So you did verbatim read it. Sometimes I didn't know if you were paraphrasing or you verbatim.
Yeah. No,
you spread which one? The first picture or the second picture?
It was the first one before that. But
this is FOCAF, yeah.
I do want to mention. I guess I'll go through folks' statement just to kind of keep it rolling. And again, so I'll let you know what points are. Points 1 and 2 is folks' own personal judgments. So when I say I believe Dion't genuinely believes in himself, the team announcement is a case in point. From the JMRC's viewpoint, Mel and us suggested a good plan to organize the naming process for the new team internally and then with patrons, which is referring to the crowdsourced team naming, plus a way to phrase things to reduce fan controversy, i.e. not calling it retiring. Yella thought this was a good idea and was going to get around to it. Then Dion't did the announcement himself and also blew the plan wide open. He's only familiar with the way the channel got names before by fans submitting names for his approval and thinks other people don't know things better than he does. Point 2, again, this is another his own personal judgment. One issue that JMR faces is that they can't really measure if Dion's tactics are bad for the channel or not. From the outside, it's pretty obvious to me that it's not working. Hell, when Mel wasn't able to do a hype up for post for GP10 on YouTube, the views suffered. Before Mel did the majority of the community posts, it was actually Yella who did it. And the last one, which is the most factual, and like this is, so I've been teasing this entire time, like, oh, Dion's super important. This is where I'm going to start showing that, no, Dion't actually has not really done much of anything, and both because lack of interest, and also because he physically couldn't do as much. Okay. So, until Yella's moved to the new studio, Dion't couldn't do much since he and Yella lived in separate cities. And I won't mention, and it's like Yella lived in like Nijmegen. I don't know how they pronounce that. And
yeah,
like,
good luck with that one. Nijmegen.
And then since Yella moved to the new studio, which is close to his family, the only production duties that he can confirm that Dion't has done is he manages the studio and then acts as a second cameraman whenever they go out, which I'm assuming is referring to Marble Rally. So that's like the only two things that a long-time JMRC member can actually say that Dion't has done, which is kind of insane. But like it goes even further. So get ready for these ones, Brendan.
Oh, I'm excited. I'm excited. We might have to bleed this into 95.
No. Wait, I want to get this all out of the way. I don't want to come back to this again.
I do want to remind you we're an hour and 2 minutes. So
I know, but
do we have if we have a substantial amount more?
I'm so close.
We want to make sure we give it its time. So if it's a substantial amount more, we should do 95 too. But if it's not that much, we'll just finish today.
I'm almost got all my evidence out. So go and pull up the next image I posted. Basically, so said like it's strange that that Dion't might even think that he's really integral, considering he wasn't involved at all during the meteoric rise in 2020.
What's the meteoric rise?
Like when it became really popular, like that's when, like in 2020, that's when JMR blew up, like because of COVID, like a lot of people, like it trended on Twitter, it got a whole lot of subscribers started coming in, like that was when it was the most
ironic,
popular.
Isn't it? He says meteoric and comet was the marble that trended.
Yeah.
That's a little funny, right?
Fine, I'll give you that. But then and then he follows up with like, Mel and the other members of the JMRC were organizing the interviews, doing marketing and public relations, working on M1 Season 1, etc. Dion't wasn't around. He still had a job outside of JMR at the time. So it wasn't Dion't wasn't even doing anything. But it wasn't until he he didn't have a job anymore for reasons no one knows. But like he chose to get more involved, and because like I'm assuming because like he needed to actually make income now. So it's like he really isn't interested in JMR all that much until it became a financial necessity.
Yeah, until they got big enough where they're making, double dollar signs. And that's what I'm saying. That was his focus. He's like, okay, I don't think this Marvel thing's going to work, but you go ahead and do what you want. And if it ever starts making money, then you'll see me around again. And that's just a bad... it's bad. I mean, there's not even extra things to say. It's bad. It's bad to have that mindset. It is. Because... It is like, yeah. I don't know, life is not... And in general, life is not... And you find this... eventually. But life is not about money. Life is great with money. That is a fact. I mean, if you have money, you're a little more comfortable. But money is only great. Money is only nice when that money is coming, whether a lot or a little, from something that you're doing that you're passionate about. If I got to make Marble Sports and make $1 million doing it, that'd be ecstatic. Because not only would that be a passion for me, that would be money. But if I had to do I personally don't like editing videos. That's why I have my good friend James do that for me. But if I did video editing, I got paid $1 million a year to edit videos. That was it. Not make videos, not watch videos, not advertise videos, just the editing part. Then it wouldn't be the same. Because I'm not passionate about that particular part of that particular action. I mean, name a million other things I'm not passionate about. Money, a lot of money is only a really nice in life. This is my advice. If what you're doing is you're passionate about. So I mean, that's just kind of like, I don't know, man. I can't understand a lot of Dion's actions. He's just not. Yeah. He is totally the wrong. He's a corrupt mindset, and he's corrupting the core of JMR. He really is.
Right, and Folk did mention something that I did forget to mention, and I posted Shino's mention, but let's see, Dion't seemingly did every interview. That is another thing he did do, and it was kind of a good thing because it does seem like that Yella is not really does not really like doing them, but Shino also mentioned that it's kind of problematic because that means that Dion't is constantly putting out his problematic views as a public statement for JMR around everywhere. So, thank you for reminding me of that.
Yeah. Yeah, and that just kind of shows Dion't was barely involved, but he gets more involved when the sub number keeps counting upwards, right? I mean, that's really the point here. I mean, that's the message we want to send, and we're not making this up either. Just know that we're not just saying this because we don't like what happened. We're telling you stories of things that actually happened. People are telling you factual things that happened, and what. I mean, we don't even have to do the podcast. We just tell you the stories. What's very obvious from that? Thanks for enjoying the wording, James. Corrupt mindset. That's just what happens. That's not even something to argue about because we're in just telling the stories of the events the actions that happened. That is the description of what those actions are. This is not a nebulous discussion. We're like, well, I mean, maybe we don't really know his intentions. We don't really know what happened. We know what happened. We know the facts. We know Dion't wasn't involved. We know what Dion't said about the channel, and we know what he's doing now. So just keep that in mind. We are opinionated here on the show, of course. But in this episode, I mean, and that's why we put all the pictures up on the YouTube, and I read everybody else's words verbatim. Those are things that are not opinionated, most of them.
Yeah. Folk did kind of want to clarify, so Dion't did do some stuff in 2020, he doing remotely doing phone interviews, making another pair of eyes on deals, but the distance made working on production hard. So part of it is also could be he's physically, it's harder for him to get involved in if he wanted to, but the point that definitely is meant to be made is that Brendan, you and I, we kind of said this several times in the past, oh yeah, Dion's super important, but it doesn't seem the case. That's the case at all. He hasn't really done much.
Yeah, I thought he actually was a little bit more integral in all the business deals of the channel. So I just was okay, well, Dion't may not be the most the same mindset as Yella, but he's doing all the other stuff that Yella isn't doing, and that's keeping it. But I mean, it seems like it's a little bit less truthful to say something like that. Mm-hmm. Because, and it's good that we see. That's why it's great we have all this information, because then I can really get a good look about what did Dion't really do, and what it looks like is somebody, like there was like a meme. What was the meme? It was like somebody like made something, and he's really proud of it. He's like, I made this. And this other person walks along, takes it, and he's like, no, I made this. So it's like that. That's pretty much he's doing, okay? He's coming in, he's taking somebody else's
funny you
work.
should mention that. This is the last thing I have to post, so we're coming on here. This is a Reddit comment that Dion't made, and I want to read this one, and I just want to warn everybody, I'm probably going to get very heated about this, this has got to be brought up, so bring this up, and I'll be reading it for you.
All right.
Oh, boy.
Ooh.
All right.
Oh, boy. So, Waff's going to read. Shit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know what to do anymore.
So, soon after, the JMRC will continue. The committee is founded by JMR. We respect the choice for those who believe us and thank them for their efforts. We still have several members and new persons who will take place. We announce our new team soon. Someone named No, this is Patrick. I don't know this. I didn't know this was Dion's Marble Runs. Give the channel back. Also, you're probably too much of a coward to reply since you can't take advantage of the like you do Yella. But and then he replies with this, and this is the one that pisses me off the most. So, please don't judge without knowing the facts.
Wait, sorry, before you... This is the first time I've ever seen a -6 on the comment vote section. That's hard to get to. That is hard to get to. You have to really fuck up to get a -6 in the comments. And because it's not like a post can get a -6 because everyone's scrolling through, but for someone to get into the comments, read the comment, and to get down to a -6, that's a hard thing to do. Anyway, go ahead, Wolf.
So please don't judge without knowing the facts. Leave decisions to the management team of Team JMR. We have a manager. Decisions are made in a team. The company was founded by me. The Marbula 1 and Marble Olympics / Marble League were created by me.
Wow. That's crazy,
I pay the rent, the insurance. These are in my name. Yell and I are both owners. This has been the case from the start of our company. We also hire people together for our channel. I do not understand in this one either giving back our channel. That is unfair to say. Yell and I do everything together. We cannot live without each other. Tomorrow we have a team meeting with 5 people to make a plan. There are several who will help Yella to form a new committee with the members who want to continue and those who would have volunteered, new members. Dark Archon then replies with F off Dion't, and Little Mighty, a JMRC member, replies with a +1 to agree. Okay, so the statement that he created Marble League. As we've just discussed, he didn't have any faith in Marble League's ability to actually succeed. He was not really all that involved, and he either by choice or just by complications, so he physically couldn't even be involved. Yet he has the audacity to claim that he created something that his brother made. I'm sorry, but that is a load of bullshit.
And Waf don't curse that much on the show. I mean,
I've been holding that in for so long.
That is. Listen. I mean, I know I was comparing Waf and Fubica. I mean, not Waf and Fubica. Dion't and Fubica. The one thing you can say for Fubica, that even in Fubica's kind of more community-focused lack of direction, that I was annoyed about working for him, he at least did all the work. He makes all the marble tracks. He makes the stupid little marble baseball game, which is it's a stupid idea and it's boring to watch, but that's for another time. He does make it. He does a good job with the decoration, I will say that. He's come up with the ideas. Granted, like I said, he doesn't listen to his community. He doesn't engage the community as much as a good channel would, but he does all the work. So that is an extra. That's a really big thing for me too. That Dion't would be so conceited to say that he is the reason for JMR's success, as opposed to Yella, who actually does all the work, who's actually had all the ideas, who actually has a passion for marble sports, which is really funny because Dion't thought it was not going to work at the beginning. So I mean, that deserves its -6, man. That deserves its -6 because it's you can't. that's kind of I mean, I'm at this point, I'm very slow to ever write someone off as 100% bad, because I've made a lot of mistakes in my life, and other people have not written me off at 100% bad, and for that reason, I've been able to improve and make amends with a lot of people because I didn't make one mistake and that was it. But he's getting close to 100% with that, because we have all the stuff from the last hour of this episode, but then he also says this. Then he takes credit for something he really didn't do much for. You can't do that, because in all the mistakes, the biggest thing my biggest pet peeve is people who have a lot to say but don't put any effort in. Right, that laziness, that lack of direction, that lack of ability to actually put effort into something, and just take credit for someone else's effort. That pisses me off. That gets me. So this is. I might even go downvote that comment. I might go find it and downvote it after.
They
this
actually,
episode.
the mods actually locked that thread just because it was so negative. So like, you can't actually do it anymore.
All right, but I'll downvote it in my head. You cannot do that under no circumstances. I don't care. I lose respect for the person who takes credit for someone else's work. I mean, because it's not even half and half. If it was like more proof that Dion't was actually doing a lot for the channel, then I could hear him say this and be like, I don't like it, but he's doing a lot. But he's not even doing a lot. He wasn't really even involved, and so that's like big BS right there. So that's a problem. That's a problem.
Yeah.
And honestly, for that reason, for this comment, that is what really makes me say that honestly, JMR's next step, should be to actually remove Dion't from the organization, because that's.
Yeah. We have gone on very long. This is probably one of the longest episodes we've had in a while. So I will just kind of let's wrap it up, and I'll just say,
wrap it up.
So we know for a fact that when this show started, it was mentioned that Yella and Dion't do actually know this show exists. So Dion't, in the incredibly off chance that you actually are watching this episode, if you care at all about the community, JMR, and your brother, you will leave JMR the first chance you get, because you're just ruining the community for everybody.
Yeah, he's like the guy that talks during the movie. I don't know, because he's seen it before. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't know. It's the only other thing I have to say on this topic, because like there's one last thing I want to cover, and this is very important, and so unfortunately this is going to be at the end of an episode. So but this is probably the most important part of this is what do we do? What do we do? Because we have all this information. I mean, we'll probably talk about this in 95 just because I want this to be at the top of an episode once too. We have all this information. It is pretty clear. I mean, at least to me. I mean, everybody else can make their own judgment. That's the point of a podcast. You hear and then you think for yourself. It's at least clear to me that Dion't is not at all qualified or should be the head of JMR, and he's really turning this channel in a negative direction. So, and I just want to clarify one thing quick. Does that mean like the next video that JMR releases, like in the next month, is going to be crap? No, the content will still be the same. And in fact, even for years to come, it would be a couple years probably before the content really made any sacrifices. At least that's what I think. So like, is Greg Wood still going to be amazing? Yes. Is the Crazy Cat's Eyes theming probably going to be awesome? Yes. But it's not just about the videos; it's about the community. That's why JMR is so much better. So that's the problem to focus on. So the future isn't like an immediate like exponential drop towards death, but it's unstable. And so something needs to be done. And that's the future focus. If you're listening to this, right? If you're at the point where you've gotten about 1.5 hours into a Marble Sports podcast, that's what you spent your time doing, then you are officially welcome, part of the inner community of Marble Sports fans. So it is now your responsibility to at least think about what can be done to change the future. Because the only way all this time we've put into marble sports is going to be able to be, worth something is if we try to make some changes. And unfortunately, I don't know what that looks like. I would love to be a part of trying to make that happen. But as to what the next step should be specifically, I don't know. But we need to do something. Because if you don't do something, then you might as well just stop watching marble sports and go back to car racing or whatever, Hot Wheels or whatever. I don't know. That's other stuff. But we have to. So the next step for anybody who's here listening is to, it's call to action right here. I don't do this very often. I tell you to email in, but this is where I really want you to email in now. You need to email in and even if it's just a mediocre idea, if you think it's mediocre, you need to email in and maybe give some ideas on what we should do to try to face Dion't. Because Dion's only one person. He's only one person. And Yellow seems to, I feel like the more Yellow knows, maybe Yellow wouldn't really like this. And, the more other people know that are involved, they probably wouldn't like this. So what can we do to try to change the community? Or what can we do to try to, change Dion's decisions? What can we do? Because the only action will fix this. Because if we just let it go, nothing's going to happen. So the future is unstable. The content will still be pretty good for a while, but as far as bringing JMR back to where it was before the JMRC disbanded, we have to come up with something, some sort of protest. I don't know. That's just why I'm asking you guys. I don't know, but that's the next step. So I ask that you guys think on that in the overtime, and you can reach out to me. You can join the Discord. You can email me because I've very, very involved in marble sports community for a while. I know most of the JMRC members. Only one of them has me blocked, so I'm pretty happy about that. I see Waff laughing there. I did pretty well. I did pretty well for the last couple of years and my craziness. But I talk to Melicus. We don't talk a ton, but we have a mutual respect for each other. We've been through a lot of other situations together. So if there is a plan that makes sense, I'd be able to help try to make it happen. I'd be able to help try to garner support. I'd be able to help ask people to help try to garner support for what we could do. But I don't know what can be done quite yet because I don't know. I don't know everything. That's why I don't know things. My brain does not work any faster than y'all's. So, I ask that you guys think on it. I ask that you guys continue to have a sense of optimism that something can be done because nothing can be done if you don't believe anything can be done. Nothing can be changed if you don't believe anything can be changed. So have an attitude of you know what? I think that if we do the right things, we could change the situation with Dion't and the JMRC. And I could be a part of, or I meaning talking from your perspective, could be a part of making that change. Have that attitude. And you know what? I'm not promising anything. I'm just saying that that's the attitude we have to have if we want to bring JMR back to what it is. Because, marble sports has barely begun. We've got 5 years into marble sports being a thing. All right, so we don't want this to die out now. In the other side of the coin, let's be aware that there are other marble sports channels. Fubica, we've talked about them, but there are other ones out there that are doing good things that, like Hershy and his MSPN Racing, Racing Marble League, which I personally, if I had to pick one other channel right now to be the second best marble sports channel, I'd pick Racing Marble League. Not because they have the second best quality. I think that their quality is really good, but it's not second best to JMR. It's just because... and not just because I do the commentary for them either, but because the guy who runs the channel, he runs it pretty much, I think he actually does it himself. He's very passionate about marble sports. He's very passionate about fan engagement. In fact, his series that he does right now on his channel is built around the fans. It's only built around the fans. The fans make more decisions than he does. So he's very fan-focused. He's very community-focused. He doesn't have anybody else that really interfere with that. I, as the commentator, help him, and I'm very fan-focused. I'm very community-focused. I'm very okay, well, let's ask people what they want. Let's try to keep this engaging and let's do that. So, and he's very focused in a good direction. So So I think that he has potential in the future to be a good Marble Sports channel. So I just want to throw that out there. There are other channels if Dion't takes JMR and just buries it under the dirt in the next year, which I don't think will happen. I just think the channel will be less engaging. That's what I see. A downturn in engagement to kind of where JMR becomes as interesting as Fumega. But
we'll see.
Yeah.
Like I personally actually like if not for like some of the negativity behind all this, like I actually would have like been a lot more positive about the most recent race because it's actually one of the best Marble Rally races that I've seen in a while. And so like I think that like at least from my perspective on this, even with everything, despite how much I despise Dion't at this point after learning everything, I'm still going to continue watching JMR. I was supporting Greg and Yella's work, and I'm sure it'll still be just. Like, I mean, we enjoyed it back before the JMRC existed. It won't be as good without them, but like, it will still be good, in my opinion. It'll still be something fun to enjoy, and so as long as Yella still is passionate and is making something incredible, I will be there to watch.
Absolutely. I'm able to make that distinction as well, that Yella and Dion't are two different people, and Yella really does have a passion for Marble Sports.
And as we just proved, Dion't basically has nothing to do with JMR, so as long as he doesn't get more power, which then it shouldn't affect things by too much.
Yeah. And of course, Greg is as much of... Greg does more for the channel than Dion't, in my opinion. So honestly, I love Greg, man. I love Yella. They do a great job. I said Gel half of this episode, but who cares? I love Yella. They do. I love their passion. That's what makes me so passionate about this podcast, because there's a channel out there that's more engaging, or at least was, than just like someone trying to do it for money or someone just kind of half-heartedly putting effort in. Like, they're so passionate. That's what makes me passionate about the podcast and talking about them. So I'll of course be still. We'll be following what happens, and maybe we'll be part of something that will really make a change. So we're gonna push the emails off to next week, guys, because this episode's it's way too long. We have a bunch, and so this will kind of bring some of the topics back up, so we'll revisit them next week. I'm going to probably talk about doing something to make a change next week as well. Remember, you can email us in and say anything at mswpodcast@gmail.com, whether it's Marble related or not. We will read it, and we will engage with it and enjoy it. And I hope you guys keep listening to the show and keep watching JMR, and we'll see. We'll see if if anything changes in the future. There's so many things have changed and happened in the past 3 years. I am not unoptimistic about things changing in the next 3 years. So with that being said, Waf, take us out for the episode, and we'll see you in 95, only 5 away from episode 100.
All right. Roll on, Marble Sports fans.